5D's, the series that changed everything. This series followed the city of Neo Domino City and the system of people living there, the people living in the city, and then the people living in the satellite who are lower class. From that place comes our protagonist Yusei, who escapes the satellite and comes to the city to battle his rival Jack, but then a wrench is thrown into that with the appearance of a crimson dragon. This then leads to cults, duels, and the coming together of 5 individuals who will save the world twice, also card games on motorcycles. What I love about this series firstly is the world building, as I've talked about before. The first half of the series is built onto the city and the people living there. We see how the characters are treated differently depending on their origins. Look at Yusei during the Duel of Fortune Cup and how the audience reacts to him. Look at Aki when her powers are revealed. They're hated. It shows a system that the city is driven by the differences between the two societies that live next to each other. This was continued in Arc 5 with the city, but I'll get to that series later. Now onto the characters with our protagonist, and I may be controversial, but I think Yusei is my favourite in the franchise. He may not be the most developed out of all the protagonists, but he's just cool. He keeps his emotions kept in until moments like his second duel with Roger. He screams about his guilt over what happened in the past and how it has affected the future of everyone. I see him more as a slow progression character who develops over the entire series. He uses a different type of deck from Judai, which focuses on both tribute summoning and synchro summoning while still promoting the current technique. This series introduced the first new summoning mechanic known as synchro summoning. This is where a player can use a special monster known as a tuner in order to add the levels of another monster to summon a synchro monster. This series does involve fusion summoning, but mostly focuses on the new mechanic. While I will always champion using all the summoning methods equally, this series kind of gets away with it due to the lack of techniques at the time. This is definitely not foreshadowing for future videos in this series. Synchro summoning is my favourite summoning mechanic due to the addition of levels and special abilities just beating pendulums. Riding duels include characters riding on motorcycles or skateboards and battling on them. The motorcycles are known as D-wheels, and my personal favourite model is Yusei's due to its iconic streamlined design. Also, blue and red works best together. Standing duels are the normal duels we all know and love. The duels just range in more variety than series before beyond just different colours. Yusei's is again my favourite, looking like an upgrade of the original Battle City design. Let's talk about our rival Jack. Here's another favourite character of mine due to his solid characterisation of how he started as a man at the top of the world who is sent to the bottom again. He changes over the series from a selfish man who develops into a man who holds his friends up. He even fist bumps Yusei at the end, and that just shows his character development. Aki Izayoi is my favourite female character in the franchise. She starts as a cultist due to her powers that relate back to the Crimson Dragon.
お前は破壊をその力を楽しんでいるその力に優越を感じている
Add on a tragic backstory and you get a character who stands above others. She's more evil at first but develops into a kinder person with Yusei. She's one of the better female duelists in the series, and that's another reason I love her character. Also her plant deck, which reflects her character during the series, such as Black Garden and Black Rose Dragon. The twins are how kid characters should be written, not annoying, and actually add to a series. Rua's connection to the spirits, which continues on from both Duel Monsters and GX. Lua's Morphtronic deck shows the experimental nature of the cards at the time beyond synchro summoning. Also, their duel with Jack between Aporia is one of my favourite battles in the franchise due to Livestream Dragon and Lua finally becoming a signer. Crow is a difficult character to talk about. On paper he's a perfectly fine character with a backstory and dueling style, but my problem with Crow has to be his inclusion when the series already had enough characters that could have used more development. This is the problem with the larger cast of characters where everyone doesn't get development. Let's talk about the Signer Dragons. I like all of them apart from Blackwing Dragon, which was never a good card. Most of them have seen competitive success even to this day. The first 64 episodes of this series are near perfection through both duels and character development. The first arc sets up the characters with a tournament and then heads into quite possibly my favourite arc in the franchise, the Dark Signer arc, which sees our heroes battling the servants of the Nazca lines who plan to destroy the world. What makes this artwork is the characters, and not only our heroes, the villains are all well done by giving them actual reasons to hate our heroes. My favourite has to be Misty and her hatred for Aki due to what happened to her brother. That is really dark even for this series and season 0. There was also Carly and Kiryu who had their own quirks because designs are stories. Carly works well as a rival for Jack due to their love for each other, while Kiryu wanting revenge against Yusei for his apparent betrayal. Also, D-Mac was there. Also, why did Carly use a D-Wheel when she has no experience using one before? After the defeat of the Darksigners, the series goes into filler, which sets up the final arc. This is the weakest part of the series. While not being bad, it's nothing special. There's barely any long-term character development, and it's just fine. Also, Bruno was there. Apart from some episodes, such as Aki learning how to ride a D-Wheel, or Jack gaining double tuning, or Kiryu with Crash Town. This was a mini arc that was the highlight of the second half of 5D's. This is due to developing not only Kiryu but Yusei as he battles a system of governing a small western town to save his friend. So the final arc is where the series picks up with a cult planning to crash the future version of Neo Domino City into the current day. The villains are fine, Divine was just kind of there and that's about it. He helped with Aki's arc but had great potential as a villain that went nowhere. The Darksigners were mostly excellent apart from D-Mac. They had compelling reasons for wanting to battle our heroes. Zone was an interesting antagonist from his tragic backstory to mechanical look at life. Same with Aporia. As I said, his duel with Jack, Lua and Luca is my favourite from the final arc. My other favourite duel being Aki vs Misty Round 2 for its backstory and development for both characters. The animation and music was a step up from GX. The duels were fun to watch whether it was standing or riding duels. The duels showed character development through the battles, looking at you, Yusei versus Aki. The music was a nice mixture of rock and techno I think, but I liked it overall. I loved every opening in this series, especially the ones performed by Masaki Endo. That man is a musical genius. So that's Yu-Gi-Oh! 5D's and I love it. It's my favourite entry in the series so far and I hope this video has shown why. The story, characters, duels and just everything is so good. Next up we look at the crossover between the first three series and tying into the story of 5D's. It's Bonds Beyond Time. If you like this video, please give it a like, subscribe and hit that notification button for more content from yours truly. Also follow me on Twitter through the link in the description. Cheers for watching.